This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello, and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena, we are literally, actually, not memeing when I say we are going to go for number 1 Mythic, a thing that I convinced myself would never happen. I'm still confident that the odds of this are so extremely low, given the nature of best of 1 gaming, given the nature of playing a different deck every day, given my personal nature for often leaning into the entertainment play instead of the best play. And yet, here we are. We find ourselves at the end of 2020, a year that has changed my life as a content creator in so many ways. And we have a legitimate opportunity to take it down. So, we held number 4 overnight. We're going to go for it. And what do? Man, I thought about changing this up so many times. Do you know how hard it is to not play blue-white control or something of that nature when going for number 1 Mythic? Do you know how hard it is to not play this mono-black Yorion deck, which I honestly think is among the best possible best of 1 decks? It's hard not to do it, but we committed when we made the Christmas Carol episode and then decided that we were going to showcase the decks from that video afterwards. We committed to a line. It's time to see the line through. We played Mono Red. We played the Ghost of Christmas Past. We played the Ghost of Christmas Present. Today, the Ghost of Christmas Future. Christmas yet to come. Rogues. Yep. If I hit number 1 Mythic with Rogues, can we get 5,000 dislikes on this video? Oh man, do what you want. You can say what you want about Rogues. Here's the part you're going to roast me for. So this was a 4x Ashiok Rogue deck for the video that I made. And I cut it down to 1 Ashiok because it's the worst card in the deck, quite frankly. Really, the big win that you get from not being a Lurrus deck in best of 1 is Nighthawk Scavenger, which is like a 3-mana Baneslayer Angel, and can often it keeps you in games against mono green food, against mono white, and it can straight up dominate games against aggro like Gruul and mono red, which are very popular in best of 1. So Nighthawk Scavenger is a much better best of 1 card than best of 3 card, as many people just aren't prepared to deal with it. But control mages and after sideboarding good removal spells eat this poor card for breakfast, so you won't see it at a lot of the top tables in competitive play. But this is where it lives. We also have Brazen Borrower, which I think gets overplayed in Rogues. It's okay. It's not great. It's fine. I think 2 is a good number. 1 Zareth San, because it can totally flip a game. That could be another Ashiok if you love Ashiok that much, but I think there are plenty of times where Zareth San is better. 4 Into the Stories, 4 Thought Thieves, 4 Drown in the Loch, 3 Rune Crabs, no Wind Robbers. Without Lurrus, I find them a lot worse. 4 Blood Chief's Thirst, we need cheap removal to not get run over in best of 1. 1 Cling to Dust, in case we end up in the mirror. Maybe we can just draw this card in the top half of our deck and solo the opponent. 4 Thieves Guild Enforcers, and 4 Lofty Denials. More universal counter magic with our emphasis on flyers. Oftentimes the idea is get down an early Thought Thief, Scavenger, or Borrower, and then sit back on a Lofty Denial or 2 and just win, baby. Just frickin' win. 24 lands, 3 of which are Agadeem's Awakening, 9 of which are basics. I found I wanted a lot more basic lands. I never activated castles when they were in the deck. They entered the battlefield tapped far too often because we have Deceit, Clearwater Pathway, Fabled Passage, Agadeem's Awakening. So I just play more basics. That's the deck. This is what we're putting our opportunity for number 1 Mythic in the hands of. There's no doubt that Rogues is a good deck, and there's no doubt that Rogues is a hated and beloved deck, both. But one thing that's interesting about Rogues is every game is hard. You can, unless you just like draw 2 Thieves Guild Enforcers, 2 Thought Thieves, 1 Drown in the Loch, most games are hard. This deck can beat any deck in the format. It can also lose to any deck in the format with bad hands and bad play. So, it's really going to test me, and It's definitely a case where when you get into the top 10, like I said last video, there usually isn't anywhere to go but down. A win, you might move up 1 spot, maybe. A loss, you literally lose like 10 to 20 spots, and you keep falling. So, on that note, number 4 may be as high as we ever get. Or maybe, just maybe, you're about to see the one in best of 1 get number 1. Let's dive in. Let the nonsense begin. No turning back now. Osner, a 99%er. On the play. Hard to argue with a hand like this. I don't know if this is good. Do we take a chance that this is good, or do we go for more rogues? Because right now, if our Thought Thief dies, our whole hand falls apart. It's best of 1. Best of 1 has creatures. But these sleeves, that avatar, oh my gosh, so much is riding on this. I'm keeping. He's overthinking the very first scry. I knew he would. Valley, all right. Are we blue or are we black? Let's go blue. You know why? Because that's my name. All right, the opponent needs a board presence right here. And they have a Scavenging Ooze. Not bad. Not great either. The Blood Chief's Thirst is looking brilliant. A tale as old as time. The green deck. The gruul versus rogues. It's been the story of this format, you know? 2 very capable adversaries, but I'm on the play. Here comes Lovestruck Beast. There goes Lovestruck Beast. Oh, baby. We're going to hold Fabled Passage to hold priority, disguise whether or not we have instant speed effects. Of course we do, but we don't need the opponent to know that, because we just might let some things resolve and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, crack that passage. Brushfire Elemental, we can drown that in the lock after they crack the passage. By the way, we can also into the story. We could just take this damage into the story now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. Because they cracked the passage. Why did they play this after playing? I think they're going to miss some damage here. But yeah, I'd rather draw into another Blood Chief's Thirst. Or maybe a Death Touch creature to ambush this, rather than use the Drown and the Lock on it, because Drown can kill something bigger. Alright. What do we get? Black, I suppose, because of Agadeem's Awakening. Might be a castable card. I think the opponent has a Bone Crusher Giant. It's holding priority here through all this. They may also have a Rimrock Knight. But I think Scavenging Ooze lives in the spot of the Rimrock Knight, so I'm guessing it's a Bone Crusher Giant. Man, they are making me think about, well, maybe they're having to think, but they're making me pause at every turn. 4 cards, please. The best feeling in Magic. 4 cards for the number 4. Let's go. Give it. Hit the button. Pass it over. Thank you. We didn't draw another spell for the Brushfire. The opponent's victory strategy against us, to rope it out every single moment. Some would say Rogues deserves it. I will say it's adding a good amount of dramatic tension and flair to the video. I will give it that. Do we start the BM? Do we hit him with the Z's? I'm hitting him with the Z's. It's possible they're really thinking about bone crushing the face or not. Doing math, coming up with all kinds of complicated plays. It's also just possible they hate rogues. 0, going to 0. I mean, we got roped out in top near the top yesterday. Whoa, that's a good draw. That is a very good draw. Die, little critter. That's what you want to kill that thing. Opponent is here. They rope that turn out because they can. Nothing like getting salt roped at this time. Nothing like it. They see number 4, they see rogues. They think they have the moral high ground playing gruul. This deck is amazing. Like, this is a... I mean, yes, we have a great draw. But my goodness, the salt is pouring. Just seeping out of them. Okay, they do run Rimrock Knight. They run a very low to the ground aggressive version with Ooze, Rimrock Knight, and Brushfire. They go for Beastie. Let's let them have the 1/1 and make them commit to the 5/5. We also get to draw another 4 and then drown in the lock the beast and still have lofty denials. There it is. Resolves. So next turn we'll drown it, or we'll use another removal spell if we find one. I don't know, I probably wouldn't use a Blood Chief's Thirst, so we're going to drown it. Or we're going to draw 4 right now. Get those sweet, sweet cards into my hand. Maybe we'll end up thirsting the 1/1, so the opponent can't even attack. But then they could play Henge. Yeah, we counter it. It takes so much mana. Or we let them attack and then they Embercleave, and yeah, we counter that, or kill the beast after they put the Embercleave on it because it takes their whole turn. Something like that. I do need more creatures. Nighthawk Scavenger would not be bad. Yo, play your land. The road to number 1 Mythic is dark and full of terrors. Ashiok, you came to the show. All right. Crab time? Crab time. We'll try to ambush the Lovestruck Beast with the Thieves Guild Enforcer. That will be our removal spell for the card, saving Drown in the Lock and Lofty Denial for something else. If they use a lot of their mana for Embercleave or the Great Henge, that's an easy counterspell that took away their whole turn. If they have a Bone Crusher Giant, I suppose we can counter the Bone Crusher Giant. Embercleave in the bank. Here's the Giant. Going to play a counter on the Giant. Here's the Embercleave. Going to Lofty Denial the Embercleave. Wow, look how fast they can play when they want to. Good night, buddy. And for the Rubbins, they have Robber of the Rich. They have a really low to the ground gruul deck. Lose your last card. And your only creature. Easy crab attack. Nah, they play Robber. Let's not be an idiot. They play Robber, Ooze, Rimrock Knight. So many cheap drops. Maybe they don't have as many of the mythic artifacts. I don't see any henge at all. That's game. You forgot to rope! You didn't rope me. 3! Ooh. I mean, it's a turn 2 Thought Thief on the play. It's not that different from the last hand. It just hurts. We have to pay 3 life. Turn 2 Thought Thief, turn 3 counter, turn 4 counter, turn 5, 6, something like that, into the freaking story. Oh, are you mono red? We will see. The old nemesis, the worst deck to have to pay 3 life against, but we're doing it. Oh, gruul again? Wow. All right. Too bad we can't ambush because of the unblockability. Would be nice. So, do we play the crab, mill them for a ton, and Bloodchief's Thirst the Brushfire? I guess we can drown the next creature they play. So I suppose it's the play. I don't like it because we're not holding up the counter. Let's get double blue. So that Into the Story can be cast as soon as possible. And we've already hit the 8 cards in graveyard threshold for the Thought Thief to be a contender. A lot of land in that graveyard. Is it the same opponent? No, they were 99%. There's no way they fell to 95. Don't know why I'm even asking. It just seems like the exact same deck. We even have the Rimrock Knight, which is a wrinkle in these decks that not everybody plays. I'm going to take the hit, hold up the counter magic. I'm really looking at the top of the library for land here. If we draw something like a Zareth, that's super bad. If we draw Nighthawk Scavenger, that's super bad. Just about anything else is passable. Let's get lofty. Okay, another Into the Story. Super bad. Nah, oh man. They're gonna make me sweat. Alright, game. Sweating it is. I wonder if it's time to try to block the Rimrock Knight. It might be. It's possible I should have saved it for this turn. Crab did its job. I guess Crab could gain some life. Alright, come on, deck. Stop withdrawing the 5 and 7 drops. Just give me the land. We can kill it. We're just going to make them commit to the attack. They might actually hold back the Rimrock Knight if they're scared of a trade. Unlikely, but possible. Down to 10. Off the top. What's it going to be? Opponent fetching now. Scared of getting their last forest milled. Innkeeper. Do we thirst the Innkeeper, or do we thirst the Knight? The Knight turns on Great Henge, and it makes Embercleave a lot better. I'm going for the Knight. And I'm not attacking, I don't think. At this point, if they attack, you want to be able to block if they have an Embercleave. And every life point might count. Manual taps. And it's a second questing beast. Alright, guys. Looks like we're going down. Looks like this is the end of the line. You're a little late. I can't stop an Ember Cleave. I can't stop a Great Henge. This is probably it. Okay, not yet. How many Bone Crushers are in the bin? Not enough, that's for sure. They definitely could have another Bone Crusher Giant. And they pass the turn. They have to go for Into the Story. And they stomp face. That's the end of the line, guys. A 95%er. I don't think we're coming back from that. Just a little deconstruction. This is why memers don't make it to the finish line. The Ashiok actually cost us that game. Just by being in the deck. If that had been a cheap removal spell, you know, or a counter spell, like, probably could have won that game. But the fact that we put a 5-mana clunky slow card in our tempo deck, that is what lost us the game. So as cool as some of these cards are and seem, Ashiok is a very cool card. Like, there are these ripple effects, right? There are ripple effects that just ruin your deck, and you don't realize it. You just think a card is cool. That's why I don't play jank decks anymore. Oh, we are getting lit, aren't we? No attacks. Well, that's good. And no plays. That was good. So do we hold it back? I guess if we're doing damage to the opponent, plus we need to fill their graveyard, it's worth it. They might not attack again because we could have another. We can also fire off the Bloodchief's Thirst if we want to. Force one of these creatures to go down. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Alright, they're a Sky Mall gamer. I'm just going to get rid of the bounty, not give them the option. I know Speaker of the Heavens looks like a good card, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to punch the opponent in the face a number of times. And by doing so, they won't be able to turn it on. However, the counters from Heliod, that's a problem. Keep moving on up. 6 cards in the grave. Selfless Savior is annoying, but not something we can stop with Lofty Denial here. Skyclave Apparition, something we can stop. And we do need to. This is our only threat. Our opponent's down to 1 card. We have no other creatures in the graveyard. So we can't get anything back with Agadeems if this gets exiled. And do I want to Cling? It's going to go up to 8 next turn. Let's draw with Cling. Save this in case we draw Crab. Another Lofty. Lofty is pulling weight. Like, Lofty's kept us in so many games. Lofty came to play. Sentinel's Eyes. Oh no, it's an escape card. They came prepared, and I can't Cling it right this second. The good news is it's a small escape card. It's cheap. It only exiles 2 other cards from the graveyard. 2 other cards is not many when we're talking about 2 Thought Thieves attacking every turn. Aspirant. So Aspirant fixes their size issue where their creatures aren't racing as well as mine, which means we've got to counter it. And if the opponent had sequenced differently, They could have played that around Lofty Denial, which they knew was in the deck, but they had already seen 2 of. So what are the odds of the 3rd? No attacks? I think they're tilted. I think we tilted them, guys. Alright, they play Giant Killer. That's important to know when you have Thought Thieves and Thieves Guild Enforcers. Let's hang on to the Awakening. We might end up with some creatures in the graveyard before it's all over. Did they draw a Giant Killer? That's the question we have to ask. Go for it anyway. Just go for it. Goodbye, Swordfish. And behold, a win actually moves us up 0 against a 99%er. Well, that hand isn't keepable. It is the first time we've drawn Scavenger, which is crazy because that's a big reason I played the deck. If there were a Luris, I would keep it because of Cling, just because of that 1 card, but it's not. All right. So do we put away the Cling? We're on the draw. Are we going to hit land without it? I think we just put away a land. There's no mill here, which is very bad. We have to find ways to remove things or hit a crab, something to mill. We just need a few cards in the graveyard to get this hand going. It's one of the reasons you don't run a ton of Brazen Borrowers. Oh, Mono Red knows when you're weak. Mono Red always knows. Okay, okay, don't rob me. Don't you frickin' rob me. One time, don't rob me. Yes! It's all on this Scavenger. And again, we don't have a way to mill yet. We need to find one. We need to get some cards in their graveyard. How are we gonna do it? Lofty Denial this next turn? That's a good start. Like Lofty Denial on an Annex would be nice because it's an enchantment and a creature. It would make this a 3/3. They don't play the Bone Crusher. They're suspecting the Rogues. There's the Annex. Here's the Lofty Denial. This is the part where we find out, oh man, okay. So, do we try to play the Scavenger with protection? Or do we play it now and find out if the opponent has Shock and Bone Crusher or double Bone Crusher? I guess if they have that, it's their whole turn. Of course, they might use it on the crab. Alright, I'm going to play the crab and wait one more turn. I'm going to try to draw out some of their removal. Like, I'll probably block the Fervent Champion with the crab and then they'll Bone Crush the crab. Yeah, that's it. That's the stuff. We get that Bone Crusher out of their hand. They play another Annex. We can bounce that and we can counter that. Let's counter. Just never let it happen. By the way, this symbolizes that they have a Rimrock Knight or a Shock. I think they have a Rimrock Knight, but Brazen Borrower really blows out Rimrock Knight, so I'm not making this block yet. Not yet. They could definitely be saving a Rimrock. Alright, not going for this. We're going to wait another turn. I'm going to exile something with Cling to Dust, probably for life, and I'm going to bounce this if they try to use a Rimrock Knight. That's frustrating to see. And a robber. What the heck? They've been slow rolling and drawing very well. Very, very well. What's the play? I guess it really is on this Nighthawk Scavenger to carry this whole game. Rogues, don't steal my rogues. Okay. What we want to bounce most is the robber. No Rimrock yet. Might be a shock then instead. And there's the shock. Okay. Let's use Cling to Dust on what? 6 in the graveyard. Do I need the life more? Do I win a long game? I think I do. So let's exile one of these creatures. Gain 3 life. Do we need to save the Borrower for the Embercleave? They can't... I guess they could Embercleave. Yeah, let's bounce the Robber, because it's the most expensive. Then they can't Embercleave without an untapped land. And let's play the Scavenger. Yep, that's an Embercleave. Or just some kind of pump spell to get them through, but we're not blocking. Hurts. Down to 7. Another land. They're at 5, so we'll play a Thought Thief. We need to hold priority when we do. Because after we play this, priority is going to auto-pass. We don't want to let them know we're naked. Because what we want to do is mill them when we attack with this. You see, we got the extra point of lifelink there. Lots of stops. And now it's a race. Lots of stops. Something bad could happen to this. We just have to risk it. We're at the point in the game where we take risks. They do have the Rimrock Knight, man. They've been a very patient mono-red player, which I'll give them props for. They've also played like a really long game on this one. And it's worked out for them. You can't do that without drawing really well. Lofty Denial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. This will not save me anymore. So we have to say go. What do we have to do on the block? Stage 1, 2, 3. Hit here, gain 5. Well, we can't have that. That definitely can't happen. And there's still Stick. They have another one. Unreal. What a champion. What a champion. So that's game because these have first strike. There's no way that we can block to survive because of this being a 2-power first strike creature. But yeah, that was a perfect draw. An absolutely perfect draw. And well played, to be fair, but disgusting. They knocked me out. They knocked me almost out of top 10. Curse you, Mono Red. And we're back for the post-game wrap. This is a tough one, crew. The day didn't go our way, but there's a lesson to be learned. Meme cards and silly builds aren't meant to be the best. The good version of this deck for best of 1 has Lurrus. Nighthawk Scavenger did not carry its weight, was an easily bad removal target, and it didn't save us against Mono Red. Wasn't good enough. So, learn that lesson. Brazen Borrower, not good enough. Xerath and Ashiok. Ashiok literally cost us a game just by being a card in our hand that if it had been a Heartless Act, a good card, even like a Merfolk Windrobber, we would have had a chance. So you got to play the good versions of the decks if you really want to reach your max potential. I didn't do that today. Even keeping the one Ashiok in the deck was too much. Although I will tell you this, I have no regrets for making content. It was a little bit of justice, I think, for all the times that I say, you know what? The best deck in the format, nobody wants to watch it anymore, so I'm going to change 4 cards and call it a video. That's why I'll probably never be the 1 on Mythic Ladder. But what you can't ever take away from me is being the 1 in Best of 1. Thanks for all the support. Whether you love rogues or hate rogues. And again, my final notes on this, play the Luris version. Look up the video I did. The thumbnail literally says best deck in standard. If you search rogues on the channel, you'll find it. That's the good deck. If you want to go absolutely crush. This one's fine. But it won't be the best. Thank you for watching this video and the journey here in 2020 and the attempt, the solid go for it enthusiasm where we went for #1 Mythic. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope the content is good. It's fun for you. And on that note, goodbye.